Hi there, it's Mrs. Tollison. I told you I'd put together a little video about Punnett Squares. Some of you are doing great with these and some people are a little struggling still, but it's always good to have an extra resource. So in this video we're going to talk about how to set up a Punnett Square and how to interpret the results. So in your notebooks we did a little, some notes on this on page 62, so if you want to have that out so you can add any extra details there that you might have missed in class or any extra details that you think would be helpful to you, that might be a great idea. So here we go, and obviously pause at any time if you feel like you need to read over something again on the screen. So a Punnett square is just a diagram that shows the probability or chances of having offspring with a certain trait. So the Punnett square has 4 boxes. Each square represents 1 chance in 4 or 1/4 or 25% chance of having that trait. And in order to fill in the Punnett square, you have to use information from both parents to find out the chances of the offspring having a certain trait. Gregor Mendel started off by crossing purebred tall plants, and purebred just means 2 of the same allele, so purebred tall, so it's going to be 2 uppercase T's. Tall is the dominant trait. The dominant trait is always represented by the uppercase letter. And he crossed that with purebred short plants. So again, purebred, 2 of the same letters. It's short, it's the recessive trait, so it's 2 lowercase t's. So even though the word short starts with the letter S, we have to use a lowercase letter that's the same letter as the uppercase letter that we showed to represent our dominant trait. So when you set up the Punnett square, you just put the information for one parent along the top and the other parent along the side. And you kind of split the letters up so they're above each square here. Now some sources will tell you that you should put the female or the mother across the top and the father or the male across down the side. Some other sources will say you should put the information for the male on the top and the female on the side. But either way, it really doesn't matter because the information that you get inside the box will be the same. Okay, your totals for your genotypes and phenotypes will be the same. So again, capital T stands for tall plant, lowercase t stands for short plant, and the letters just represent the genotype or genetic makeup or allele combination for each parent in the cross. So there's a specific way you need to fill in the information in the boxes so that you have the right information, and I've color-coded these so we can kind of see how the letters move. The letters that are above the boxes up here on top, they move down into the boxes below. So this big T moves down to here, and this big T moves down here and here. And the letters that are on along the side move across. So this T moves into this box and this box, and this little T moves into this box and this box. And by rule, the capital letter is always written first. So if anytime you have an uppercase and a lowercase letter, the uppercase or capital letter should always be written first, and then the lowercase letter next to it. Once you have filled in the boxes, then you can start interpreting the information that you got. You can see what the Punnett square is telling you about the chances of having certain types of offspring. So you can use the Punnett square to determine the possible genotypes and phenotypes of the offspring. So this is the Punnett square we just filled in on the previous page, that first cross that Gregor Mendel did, and we can look at the possible genotypes. And remember, the genotype is the genetic makeup or allele combination, and these are the letters that are in each of the boxes. So for this cross, the only possible genotype you can get is big T, little t. If you look at every box, it's big T, little t here, big T, little t here, big T, little t, big T, little t. So there's a 4 out of 4 or 100% chance of getting the big T, little t offspring. That's the genotype. The phenotype is the physical appearance, and that depends on or is determined by the genetic makeup of the offspring. So for this cross, the only possible phenotype, the only possible physical appearance for these plants is tall pea plants. There's a 4 out of 4 or 100% chance of tall plants. That's because there's a capital T in each of these boxes. Every time there's at least one capital T, you know that the dominant trait is going to be shown. And here, dominant is tall pea plants. So in Mendel's second cross, he decided to see what would happen if he took two of those big T, little t offspring. And remember, if we've got one dominant and one recessive trait, that's a hybrid, or another word is heterozygous. That prefix hetero means different. Two heterozygous hybrid offspring from the first cross, and he bred them together to determine the results. So again, I've color-coded this so we can kind of see where the letters come from. We've got the big T, little t here, big T, little t here. This big T moves down into these two boxes. This little t moves down into these two boxes. This big T moves here and here. And this little t moves here and here. So now we've got all the boxes filled in, and now again we can start interpreting or determining what it's telling us. So we've got the genotypes. There are 3 possible genotypes for this cross. We have a 1 in 4 chance, or a 25% chance of getting this big T combination, because it's only in 1 out of the 4 boxes. We've got a 2 out of 4, or 25% chance of getting the big T, little t combination, because that's in 2 out of the 4 boxes. And we've got a 1 in 4, or 25% chance of getting this little t combination, because it's only in 1 out of the 4 boxes. Okay? So all of these percentages should add up to 100%, and all of these fractions should add up to 1, because we're taught all 4 boxes equal 100%. So phenotypes, again, are based on the genotype, so you need to do the Punnett square first before you can figure out the genotypes and phenotypes. So for phenotypes, there are only 2 possible phenotypes for this cross, and that's tall or short. There are no medium-sized plants. So for tall plants, we have a 3 in 4, or 75% chance of getting tall plants. That's because both the big T and the big T, little t genotypes result in tall plants. So we have a big T in 3 out of the 4 boxes, so those 3 are all tall. For short plants, we have a 1 in 4, or 25% chance, because only this little t combination of genotype results in short plants. So this is exactly, kind of mirrors what Gregor Mendel found out after testing thousands of times. He found out when he averaged all the information together, he said that for every 3 tall plants, on average, he got 1 short plant when he did this hybrid cross, when he crossed 2 hybrid pea plant parents. Right, so that's all I have for this Punnett square video. So if you're still stuck, maybe go back and try to look at it again, look at your notes, and if you're still struggling, please come see me. We're going to be practicing this more this week, and I hope this helps.